Don't.
Dear family and friends, thank you for joining us for this celebration and remembrance of my father, our father, Saradj Avaregan. The first half will be, the first hour will be a program which we have asked people to speak, say a prayer, say some readings and some music. The second half, my brother and I will be asking if anyone wants to say anything, remembering to say anything. We ask you to raise your hand in the participant screen, and we will unmute you as we go along. Again, thank you for all being with us here. We miss my father very much, and we are loving you, everyone that we see on this remembrance. So we will start now.
Okay,
Kai, go ahead.
O companion of my throne, live then the days of thy life that are less than a fleeting moment, with thy mind stainless, thy heart unsullied, thy thoughts pure, and thy nature sanctified, so that, free and content, thou mayest put away his mortal frame and repair unto the mystic paradise and abide in the eternal kingdom forevermore. Well,
with the joyful tidings of light, that I highly rejoice. To the court of holiness I summon thee, abide there, that thou mayest live in peace forevermore.
والله یزدان پاک، این بنده آستان از دل و جان جویای تو بود و در ره محبتت پویان. رخش به نور هدایت مهتابان بود و دلش پاک و مقدس از آلودگی این جهان. سرمست صهبای الست بود و در بزم محبت ساغر و صراحی به دست. حال قمیص هستی این جهان را برافکند و به رهنوریان به جهان لامکان شتافت تا در محفل ملأ اعلی درآید و از باده وصل و لقا سرمست گردد. ای یزدان مهربان، جرعه‌ای از آن صهبای رحمانی به کامش ریست تا فرهنگیز گردد و مشامش مشکیز شود در بحر عفو و غفران مستغرق نما و زنبار فضل و احسان مستشرق کن دلها را تعزیت بخش و ارواح را به مغفرت تهنیت فرما تویی مهربان تویی آمرزنده گناهان و تویی خداوند مستعان
Greetings, friends. My name is Bani Dugal, and I represent the Baha'i International Community to the United Nations. I've been asked to read a letter that has been received from the Department of the Secretariat of the Universal House of Justice, the governing body of the Baha'i Faith. This letter is dated 3rd September 2020. To the Baha'i International Community, United Nations Office, New York. Dear Baha'i friends, the Universal House of Justice was sorry to learn from your email letter of 1 September 2020 of the passing of Saradj Avaregan, steadfast follower of Baha'u'llah. His many years of service, including his valued contribution to the work of your office, as well as a representative of Huququllah, are recalled with admiration. Kindly convey to his dear wife and other family members the loving condolences of the House of Justice for the loss they have suffered. Assure them of its heartfelt supplications at the sacred threshold for the progress of his noble soul in the Abha kingdom. Prayers will also be offered that through the unfailing mercy of the ancient beauty, they may find peace and strength at this difficult time. With loving Baha'i greetings, Department of the Secretariat, CC, National Assembly of the United States. Dear friends, some of you may know that Saradj served at the Baha'i International Community as controller since the early 1980s. It was a time when his dear wife Firuzeh was also serving at BIC. It was a difficult time soon after the Iranian Revolution, when the persecution of the Baha'is was possibly at the most intense. And Firuzeh Jan was taking care of much of the defense work and assisting with that. Saradj has been associated with our office for the past 40 years. Later, when I came to BIC, we had Ashley, who was serving in the Office for the Advancement of Women. He was very involved in assisting us to engage at the Beijing Conference, the Fourth World Conference of the UN in Beijing on women. And only last year, we had dear Liana, who served as an intern in our office. So Saradj's legacy cuts across 3 generations. And my colleagues and I, past and present, are missing Saradj very much. His humming of the theme of Godfather in our corridors, his bright and warm, generous, loving, and caring personality, as he would come into our offices and ask us about our well-being and that of our families. He was the life of our office parties. His laughter and his sense of humor. He was our favorite master of ceremonies, along with Carl Morel, who's I believe is also on this call today. They would have us rolling on the floor with laughter because he just made every occasion special. My colleagues in Geneva are also on this call, and I know that they will remember Saradj's presence when he visited them in that office as well. I learned after his passing that Saradj means light, and it's so appropriate because he would light up every room he ever was in. So on a personal note, I feel like I've lost a big brother. Thank you.
Naguin. I'm actually, Amu Saradj was my uncle. And more than that, after my dad passed away, he really served as a father to me and my sister. From the sweet scented streams of thine eternity, give me to drink, O my God. And of the fruits of the tree of thy being, enable me to taste, O my hope. From the crystal springs of thy love, suffer me to quaff, O my glory. And beneath the shadow of thine everlasting providence, let me abide, O my light. Within the meadows of thy nearness, before thy presence, make me able to roam, O my beloved. And at the right hand of the throne of thy mercy, seat me, O my desire. From the fragrant breezes of thy joy, let a breath pass over me, O my goal. And into the heights of the paradise of thy reality, let me gain admission, O my adored one. To the melodies of the dove of thy oneness, suffer me to hearken, O resplendent one. And through the spirit of thy power and thy might, quicken me, O my provider. In the spirit of thy love, keep me steadfast, O my succorer, and in the path of thy good pleasure, set firm my steps, O my maker. Within the garden of thine immortality, before thy countenance, let me abide forever, O thou who art merciful unto me. And upon the seat of thy glory, establish me, O thou who art my possessor. To the heaven of thy loving kindness, lift me up, O my quickener, and unto the day star of thy guidance, lead me, O thou my attractor. Before the revelations of thine invisible spirit, summon me to be present, O thou who art my origin and my highest wish, and unto the essence of the fragrance of thy beauty, which thou wilt manifest, cause me to return, O thou who art my God. Potent art thou to do what pleaseth thee. Thou art verily the most exalted, the all-glorious, the all-highest.
Allah. My name is Naeem Nabil Akbar. I'm Saradj's cousin. I will read to you a poem by Maulana Rumi. به روز مرگ چو تابوت من روان باشد، گمان مبر که مرا درد این جهان باشد. برای من مگری و مگو دریغ دریغ، به دام دیو در افتی دریغ آن باشد. جنازه ام چو ببینی مگو فراق فراق، مرا وصال و ملاقات آن زمان باشد. مرا به گور سپاری مگو وداع وداع، که گور پرده جمعیت جنان باشد. فرو شدن چو بدیدی برآمدن بنگر، غروب شمس و قمر را چرا زیان باشد. تو را غروب نماید ولی شروق بود، لحد چو حبس نماید خلاص جان باشد. کدام دانه فرو رفت در زمین که نرست، چرا به دانه انسانت این گمان باشد. کدام دلو فرو رفت و پر برون نامد، ز چاه یوسف جان را چرا فغان باشد. دهان چو بستی از این سوی آن طرف بگشا، که های و هوی تو در جو لامکان باشد.
I'm going to say a few words on behalf of my mother, Minu, who is Saraj's sister. Thank you, Firuza Jan, Andre and Ashley John. I could never have imagined that as an older sister, I'd be saying a few words about Saradj today. However, life is not always what you wish for. We were a family of 8, Hushi and I lost our father when we were very young, and we were very blessed when our mother married Hussein of Avaregan, and we had 4 more siblings, Saraj, Roshan, Fahim, and Ruhi, in that order. Our family had intimate links with the earliest Baha'i history. On our mother's side, our great-grandfather, and you could see a photo of him behind Naim, was Nabil Akbar, who was a uniquely gifted and accomplished religious scholar who converted having studied in Kabbalah and meeting Baha'u'llah in Baghdad. Our grandfather, who was Nabil Akbar's son-in-law, Sheikh Muhammad Ali, was also given the rank Apostle of Baha'u'llah and was a stalwart defender of the Baha'i faith in his life and writings. He also had a voice which Abdul Baha compared to the Prophet David's. And you may know that Saradj had inherited something of this beautiful voice. On his father's side, his grandfather, so this is Saraj's grandfather, was a revered cleric who, after becoming a Baha'i, was expelled from his hometown of Burujerd, hence the name of Avaregan, which means someone who has no home. And it is also perhaps where Saradj got some of his strength and courage and indomitable spirit. I'm reminded also of the many times when Saradj was only 3 or 4 years old that he would catch bees, take their stings out, connect them together on a piece of string, and they would fly off as an airplane. And that tells you something of his strength and courage. So Saradj grew up in the 1940s in Tehran. His father, Hussein Avaregan, was a colonel in the military academy, and we had a very happy childhood, full of laughter and fun. We were relatively poor, partly because Mr. Avaregan refused to supplement his state income in the usual way, which eventually led him to being forced to resign from the military. And interesting enough, even the Shah of Iran at the time had noticed his incorruptibility and remarked on it on one occasion. And I think Saradj also inherited this incorruptibility, partly from his father's example. From Tehran, we moved to Kerman, which is a medium-sized town in southeastern Iran, where Mr. Avaregan was head of the military personnel. And I remember 2 things about Kerman. First of all, us spending hours in the library of Mr. Avaregan, which had many, many books on philosophy, religions, and also many postcards that he had brought back from him from his time in Paris, where he had studied. So Saraj's father had studied in Paris and brought lots of postcards from the Louvre in particular. And I remember us looking at them together. And the other thing I remember us is also attending almost on a daily basis Baha'i classes at our own home and also at the Baha'i Center. It was really a centerpiece of our lives. And we also had a lot of fun. Mr. Avaregan often quoted Imam Ali as the guide for life. And the quote is, "One should choose the correct path in life, adhere to it, and go forward." Saradj followed this throughout his life and never changed. In Kerman, Saradj made very many friends, and after a few years we moved to Tabriz, where Amrullah Riaz and his brother joined the family. And then we moved to Abadan, and then again to Shiraz, where he met the Banans, and finally to Tehran, until he left Iran in the 1950s, the late 1950s. During his time in Iran, he was very close to Roshan, and they both traveled together in their late teens throughout the country, visiting many holy sites, including, interesting enough, Marku and Cherek, where the Bab had been in prison. Later in his life, Saradj also tried to attend many key Baha'i events and many key Baha'i places. He attended the First World Congress, which I was at. This is my mother. And the Second World Congress, which I was at as well. And the opening of the houses of worship in Panama, Frankfurt, and India. It reminds me of a story that my Hovia, my grandmother, Saraj's mother, told of when she attended the Intercontinental Conference in Kampala in 1953 and brought back a present for us. And among them was a banana, and it was the first time that we'd ever seen one. Anyway, so at the request of Hushi, who was already in Italy, Saradj and our mother, Ruhin Fahim, moved to Puglia in Italy to help promote and establish the Baha'i faith there. Mr. Avaregan had just retired from Abadan University, where he had taught physics, and had gone to Southeast Asia on his own, also to promote the Baha'i faith, and had traveled around in Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand. And he joined them 2 years later. Saradj eventually started working in Italy and sold the Encyclopedia Britannica for a few months, then went back to Tehran to get married, and then finally in 1965 moved to New Jersey, where I was, interesting enough, I was working in Brooklyn at the time, and Saradj started to study and work at the same time and eventually moved to Glen Rock. In New Jersey, Saradj focused on his family, serving the Baha'i community in many different ways that you've heard already, and his work. Myself, I remember meeting, I think, Saradj for the first time in 1978 or so, and it was completely clouded by the fact that Andre's frog had died that evening, and I remember Saradj and Fifi having to comfort Andre.
No, it was a turtle.
Was it a turtle? I remember whatever it was very traumatic for me as well. But anyway, I just remember Saradj being great at comforting everyone, really, because it was such a traumatic experience for us all. So it just brings me really to it's my mother's last words.
Take your time, Sina.
For us, Saradj brought warmth, energy, hope, and encouragement. He never despaired, no matter how terrible the situation we found ourselves in. He was always finding ways to solve problems. We relied on him. And we're all proud to have benefited from his wonderful humanity, mixed with his humor and his beautiful voice and spirit. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can.
Can I talk?
Yes.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to say to Firuze that I'm quite near to her, and if she has got some messages for Saradj, can give to me, because when I'm going to see him, I think I will be the first one, so I can send him your message. Okay, Firuze? Do you hear me or not, Firuze?
Yes, she hears you.
I do.
Don't be so quick to go.
Okay. So I would like to say just one very small story about Saradj. When we were in Tabriz, I think I was about 17 or 16, I don't remember. And Saradj was 3.5 years younger than me. And one night I was at the home with Aghajan, with my second father, and with my mother. And about 8:30, somebody knocked at the door, and there was a boy came and said that Saradj has been arrested by the police. We're so surprised. Why? What did he do? Because Saradj was about 13 years, I think. So we went to the police office with Aghajan, and we saw Saraj there sitting, and was very surprised to see us. And we asked what's happened. He said nothing, because I was speaking to a person about the faith, and the police came and arrested me. And then the police asked us to go to their office. And he said that this boy is very strange, because we are following him in 3 or 4 days, that fortnight, evening, I mean, that he used to go at 8:30, generally into a very small shoemaker's shop, you know. And we don't know what he wants to do there. Is about something very dangerous for the nation. And my father explained that he used to go there to speak about the Baha'i faith to this shoemaker. He was a very old man, you know. So the spirit of serving the faith, even if he was 13, and it was always in him. And I would like to say that tonight we must be always smiling, because he used to smile every minute and to joke for everything. You know, I remember him quite well because I was brought up with him together. And I think he is just seeing us from the heaven, you know, and will say that, take care of Firuzeh to his sons, and also to every one of us. So I want to give a very strong kiss to Firuzeh, because he loved Firuzeh a lot, you know. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Khurshid. Go ahead, Nina.
Many a chilled heart, O my God, hath been set ablaze with the fire of thy cause, and many a slumberer hath been wakened by the sweetness of thy voice. How many are the strangers who have sought shelter beneath the shadow of the tree of thy oneness, and how numerous the thirsty ones who have panted after the fountain of thy living waters in thy days. Blessed is he that has set himself towards thee, and hastened to attain the dayspring of the lights of thy face. Blessed is he who with all his affections hath turned to the dawning place of thy revelation, and the fountainhead of thine inspiration. Blessed is he that hath expended in thy path what thou didst bestow upon him through thy bounty and favour. Blessed is he who, in his sore longing after thee, hath cast away all else except thyself. Blessed is he who hath enjoyed intimate communion with thee, and rid himself of all attachment to anyone save thee. I beseech thee, O my Lord, by him who is thy name, who, through the power of thy sovereignty and might, hath risen above the horizon of his prison, to ordain for everyone what becometh thee and beseemeth thine exaltation. Thy might, in truth, is equal to all things.
Hello, everybody. This is Ruslana. I am Ashley's wife, and Saradj was my dad. And I miss him so much every day. I'm very, very blessed to be part of this incredible family that has so much joy and warmth and love, not just for us, but for everybody else in the world. So I'm joined here by my mom, Galina, my daughter, Diana, and Kai, the two grandchildren. And I will read a poem because Saradj loved poetry. Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we are still. Call me by the old familiar name.
I just wanted to...
Speak of me in the easy way which you always used. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity and sorrow. Laugh as you always laughed, as the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without an effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is absolute and unbroken continuity. What is death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind because I'm out of sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval, somewhere near, just round the corner. All is well. Nothing is hurt. Nothing is lost. One brief moment and all will be as it was before. How we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again.
I am standing upon that foreshore. A ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze. and starts for the blue ocean. She is an object of beauty and strength, and I stand and watch her until at length she hangs like a speck of white cloud, just where the sea and sky come down to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, "There, she's gone." Gone where? Gone from my sight, that's all. She is just as large in mast and spar and hull as ever she was when she left my side, just as able to bear her load of living freight to the place of her destination. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And just at that moment when someone at my side says, "There, she's gone," there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, "Here she comes." And that is dying.
This is a reading from the writings of Baha'u'llah. The nature of the soul after death can never be described, nor is it meet and permissible to reveal its whole character to the eyes of men. The prophets and messengers of God hath been sent down for the sole purpose of guiding mankind to the straight path of truth. The purpose underlying their revelation hath been to educate all men, that they may, at the hour of death, ascend in the utmost purity and sanctity, and with absolute detachment to the throne of the Most High. The light which these souls radiate is responsible for the progress of the world and the advancement of its peoples. They are like unto leaven, which leaveneth the world of being, and constitute the animating force through which the arts and wonders of the world are made manifest. Through them the clouds rain their bounty upon men, and the earth bringeth forth its fruits.
Everyone, I'm James. I'm Ush's son, and therefore Saradj was my uncle, my beloved uncle. And here is my wife Sonia.
Hello.
And I'd like to share just a couple of thoughts and memories on Saradj. I think Saradj went from Iran to Italy, and Italy has always been in Saraj's heart. I think Saradj was a natural Italian, although he moved to the US afterwards, but he always would go back to Italy, and it was a feast to meet him and to laugh with him. And we have seen during these days, a lot of pictures of Saradj and Firuzeh and the other members of the Avaregan's family in this nice, flashy fashion of the 60s. They look like coming out of movies. They are really nice, and it brings back nice memories. So I would like just to share a small memory of Saradj. He would come to Italy maybe 1 or twice a year, and of course he would visit his mom and dad in Rome. Afterward, they settled in this small town called Albano. And one day I remember Hovie Khanum, my grandmother, Saraj's mom, she was cooking, and she was a bit sad. She had something in her thoughts. You could see her. She was, in her thoughts. And one of the features of Saradj, he would always find a way to bring joy to somebody when he was sad. That was his nature. And I remember at some point we heard this voice coming out of nowhere, and the song was I don't know exactly well because I don't speak Farsi, but the song is a famous old song called Mahrab Booz. I think it was one of his favorite. And when we start hearing this, me and my grandma, we just start looking around. Where is this coming from? And when we look at, it was Saradj singing, you couldn't believe, I mean, my grandmother's eyes became so wide and her face became luminous. And she was so happy. She said, I can't believe this is my son speaking, singing. It was so nice. So there are other memories from the Bari's time, but I'd like just to leave my wife saying something about this.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to share our memories, because Saradj was a very important person even in my life. Since I was a child, I always heard Saradj in any family gatherings and in any Baha'i meetings. So James is Saradj's nephew, and I am actually the niece of the first believers who declared in Bari, who accepted the faith, where Saradj was a pioneer. So Pietro Mazzacane, and you will listen to my dad, and my uncle, who will, and also, another Baha'i friends from Bari, who will share some of the memories. So Saradj was always present in my life since I was born, basically. And even though I've never met my uncle, I heard, all these stories about, them together, and, what happened and what he brought, to my city, to the town where I was born, and to my family. So I have to thank, Saradj and obviously his wonderful family for having moved to Italy to bring, this fantastic faith. Most importantly, Saradj came to our wedding, and he was, the best man. And he was actually bringing lots of jokes, and was cherishing, the events and the meeting. And he was there in 1988 when we got married. And for us, this was symbolically very important, because, of course, being the best man at that in that moment was not just being a normal best man, but we feel that we are the harvest, we are the fruits of the seeds that he planted together with his family when he moved to Italy in 1961. So we are privileged of having had him to our wedding, and him, in our lives, and we always remember, and we will always remember him. So we send, all these wonderful families, and I'm really honored to be part of it, our love, and thank you.
Peyman.
Hello everyone, I'm Peyman, friend of Saradj, Firuza Jan, Andre, Ashley. Please accept our condolences. I'm here with my parents. Mahnush is sitting in the other room, and Nick is with her. We're so saddened. He was such a special, special man, full of integrity, big heart. I met him close to 30 years ago at a Baha'i meeting, and immediately was attracted to him. He had such a luminous personality. I want to tell you a couple of stories about Saradj, which really, you all know him, so you all know what he was like, but we had the privilege of also working with him as our accountant for a good number of years. And not only was his work incredibly good, so precise, he cared so much. After he retired, which really made us upset, we were begging him, please don't. But after he retired, he would call every few weeks just to check, is everything okay? Do you have any problems? Do you want me to go down to North Carolina and have a look and run things? Last time he called me was a few weeks ago. And he said, in his lovely warm voice, he said, Payman Jun, I've just checked. I noticed during these COVID times, you're not making the claims you should be making of the US government. Why aren't you doing it? Do you want me to do it for you? I said, Saradj, it's okay, you're retired. Don't worry, rest. But he was such a lovely man and so caring. The other story is, I understand when Firuze Jun and Saradj Jun were in South Africa at Mahmoush and Nick's house many years ago, he had promised my nephew Samo to take him for ice cream in the first few days they were there. And this was forgotten. On the way to the airport, he suddenly remembers, just as you were leaving. And he says, no, we can't go. We can't go. I've promised Samo we go for ice cream. So he says, go back. We can't leave. And everybody says, no, but you'll miss your flight. What about your flight? He says, I don't care about the flight. I've promised this little boy we go for ice cream. And this is the kind of man he was. So lots of love to everyone. We've all lost a great man.
Under John, if you get the chance, I want to say a few words.
So Hossein John, we're going to have that at the end.
Thank you, Ashley.
We do want to hear you. Yes.
Sure, I love.
We wanted to break up the program as we have seen so far with music. My dad loved music very much. Our dear cousin Minu was going to sing. She has a spectacular voice. Her health is not very good at the moment, so she asked to please be forgiven. So as a poor substitute, let me just offer a little something here. Sleep, sleep tonight, and may your dreams be realized. If the thundercloud passes rain, so let it rain, rain on me. So let it be. So let it be. Sleep, sleep tonight, and may your dreams be realized. If the thundercloud passes rain, so let it rain, let it rain down on me. Johnny?
May I speak?
Yes.
I came just now from my shop because I was not able to connect. I don't know what. Okay. And I was really sorry I could not. You see, you hear me? Hello?
See, we hear you.
And I was in the shop, but I could not come in connection with you. And now I am at home. It was raining so fast. I have some minutes to speak about Saradj, or?
Yes, you have time. Go ahead. Sì.
May I speak?
Sì, grazie.
Okay, so I would like to remember when I met Saradj. It was the 9 May 1962 in the train wagon to Bari to Bologna. It was so crowded, the train, and there was just one place free, and I sit on this place. The whole night, there was in front of me a young man. All night we traveled together, but early in the morning, I asked him at what time we arrive in Bologna. And he didn't understand me, so I asked to him, do you speak English? He said, yes. Where do you come from? He said, from Iran. I said, then you are a Muslim. Was 4 o'clock in the morning. He said, no, I am a Baha'i. I arrived in Bologna, I greeting him, I said, what is Baha'i? He said, it's a new religion, and it's the unite of mankind, unite of religion. I said, where do you live? He said, I live in Bari. Okay, I said, ciao. After 6 months, every evening after I finished to work in my father's shop, I met my friend Giovanni, Mario, and one evening there was another friend, Otto Jung. He was a Switzerland boy that lived in Bari for learning Italian language. One evening, we spoke about politica, one evening about girls. One evening we spoke about religion. And Giovanni said, I bought the Bible. On this time, it was very difficult to use the Bible. And Otto, he said, in my street where I live, there is a family that is from Iran, and they belong to a new religion. So I remember that 6 months before, I met a boy in the train that said that was from Iran, and he belonged to a religion. I said, can you not organize a meeting with this family? I was curious to know if who was this boy. And he said, okay. And the evening after, he said, if you want, you can come. You can go to this family. We went, and this was the boy what I met 6 months before in the train. This was Saradj. And the result of this meeting was that all the 4 boys accepted the faith. This was something really special. And through Giovanni, the brother, Rino, that I think he is connected also, and the other 2 friends, in the summer of the 63, they accept also the faith. But what I want to say is this. Why Saradj was in Bari? Because many pioneer family, they came for the crusade, 10 years playing organized from Shoghi Effendi, 1953, 1963. And Bari, if you look on the map, it was signed as a city for a local assembly. So many families from Persia, they came in our city. The youngest was Cinzia, 2 years old. The oldest was Mr. Faridian Ibrahim Faridian, 90 years old. But what important is Saradj on this time? Saradj was the youngest of these people, but he was the gate, I would say the door, through they could come in the Bari people, because they could not speak Italian, not one word. You can imagine Mr. Faridian, only one European word, merci. And every time we finish and play, he always merci. Okay, Saradj, he started to know many young people, and he knew the Piero Mazzacane. He was a pure boy, pure. He had an say very especially. And in a not a long time, he accepted the faith. But on the meantime, when we met the family Avaregan, there was also a nice girl, Paola Cusumano, and Vincenzo Carrisi. They was already Baha'i. In 1 year, they had 3 Baha'i. And then this 4, and then this 3 on summer. And then the meeting what the Saradj had with Piero Mazzacane was very, very important. Piero, on the last day of the second summer school in Bellaria, Rimini, he had an accident and he offered his life. After this, it was very sad for everybody, but instead to be against the Baha'i, his family became all Baha'i. This was something really important. And also a girlfriend of Piero's sister, Rina Segreto, was the girlfriend of Dina. She accepted the faith. But I mean, the Piero, I don't think he died in an accident. He offered his life to our community. And the family Mazzacane, especially the mother, Mrs. Francesca, they built a nice house, a big house that we call in Bari Villa. And she decided with the agreement of other children that this will belong to the Baha'i faith for a Baha'i center. So for me, Saradj, he was the paladin. You understand the paladin? The paladin of the Persian pioneer. They was all important, from the little Cinzia to the old Faridian. But he was the paladin, the door, that he could come in the city to know the young people. And so I should say, thanks to all Persian, we had special people in here. Thanks to Saradj, thanks to Piero, and Allah Abba.
Allah Abba. I am Mario Morano. My wife, Dina Mazzacane, sister of the first Baha'i in our town, Bari, Pietro Mazzacane. As many of you might know, our dearest Saradj came to Bari from Iran with his family and other Baha'i families to open that city to the faith. Their main goal was to create soon a local spiritual assembly, which they were able to achieve in April 1961 under the energizing shadow of the 10 Years Crusade. As a young fellow, he was immediately able to meet several young people who lived in Bari. Among them stands tall the character of Piero Mazzacane, whom Saradj met in the local cafe run by Piero's family, the bar Rio de Janeiro. Piero became Bari's first Baha'i believer. His attraction to the faith was undoubtedly caused by the vibrant exposition emanating from Saradj and to endless and all-embracing love transfused on him by the Persian pioneers. To be perfectly truthful, Saradj not only helped several young people to find Baha'u'llah and declare themselves Baha'is, but he energically chased all the local shops, owners and customers to inform them openly and enthusiastically about the faith. These shops were directly connected to the bar Rio de Janeiro, as providers of merchandise, but also in the area in which Saraj's family, the Avaregan, used to live, the famous Viale Salandra. I can say without hesitation that Saraj has been an exemplar Baha'i teacher, whom I'll always remember for the vibrating smile, his loving attitude, and his preparation and knowledge of the faith. Indeed, I'd like to conclude by telling this amusing story happened while he lived in Bari. One day, he was summoned by the parents of a young, newly declared Rina Segreto. They wanted him to meet with their local Catholic priest, a guy who was very well versed in the Bible, with the aim of showing their daughter that becoming a Baha'i was not such a good thing. Surprisingly, with the surprise for the priest, Saraj was not only able to skillfully face the priest's arguments, but he even managed to corner the poor man into silence. In the end, the priest said to Rina's parents, dear parents, if your daughter truly and firmly believe this religion, then you'd better allow her to profess her faith. Thank you.
Aloha, I am Rino Papalettera from Bari, and first of all, I would like to apologize for my poor English emphasis, which I will use later. Speaking about Saraj, immediately it comes to my mind the countenance of a joyful and loving person, always keen to help others. I don't want to mention here Saraj's spiritual and human qualities, as I am sure all of you had the opportunity to appreciate them. I met Saraj in April 1963, together with his wonderful family, Professor Hossein Avaregan and Mrs. Ovi Avaregan, the embodiment of sweetness, as well as Fahim and Rudy. The year before, my brother Giovanni had accepted the faith and soon started to introduce me to the faith by giving me a copy of Baha'u'llah and the New Era. It looked to me a completely new world, and to better understand the faith, my brother suggested that I should continue to study the faith with Saradj Avaregan. Saradj knew the Bible very well, and with great patience, for 3 months, he helped me to understand the truth of Christ. He helped me to remove from my mind the veils of false interpretations, prejudice, and Catholic dogmas, and showed me the truth of the prophecies concerning the return of Christ. I will always be grateful to Saraj for his help, forever. After studying other Baha'i books, I accepted the faith and officially joined the community at the Italian Summer School in 1963, the one marked by the tragic death of the first delivered from Bari, Irmaksatano. I would like to mention a few anecdotes. The first one was a song in Farsi that we learned by heart from Saradj. And all youth sang together at the Rezvan celebration in 1964. The song was Rezvan Jashne Janan Bodomas Udobar Kolle Du Setan Rezvan Amade Jashne Janan Amade Mosdebar Du Setan Rezvan Amade. The second anecdote relates to the time when he worked as a sales rep for the Encyclopedia Britannica. Saradj thought about approaching some school headmasters. At that time, I was still a high school student. I was already Baha'i, and one of my school friends was also Baha'i. Saradj hoped that the headmaster of a school attended by two Baha'i students would agree to buy the encyclopedia. When the headmaster actually bought it, Saradj was so happy that his joy spread to us. We were happy that his wish came true, as further evidence of his strong faith. The last episode I would like to mention is that on 24 August this year, Saradj emailed me two photographs. One sent only to me, in which only Saradj and I are present. The other is a group photo and was addressed to all Baha'i relatives of Giovanni Pappalettera, including me, as a last message of love for his friends in Bari, whom he considered like his spiritual children. I would like to show this photo. This is the first one. I with Saradj in 1964. I show you the second photo of the group with a young Baha'i of Bali. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Piero. Reno. Wert thou to attain to but a dewdrop of the crystal water of divine knowledge, thou wouldst readily realize that true life is not the life of the flesh, but the life of the spirit. For the life of the flesh is common to both men and animals, whereas the life of the spirit is possessed only by the pure in heart, who have quaffed from the ocean of the faith and partaking of the fruit of certitude. This life knoweth no death, and this existence is crowned by immortality. Even as it hath been said, he is who is a true believer liveth both in this world and in the world to come. Hawa.
Okay. I'm going to read a poem that Piruze asked me to read. Nona. An angel whispered, "Take my hand and come with me. Your work here is done. I went away to a place where there is no tears nor sorrow, only laughter and smiles. There will always be a tomorrow. As I move amongst the clouds, I look down and smile upon you, while the angels sing a heavenly song. I am not alone. All who went before are here. They awaited my return. I know you'll grieve and wish I was still here. I am here in the memories you hold dear. Remember how much I love you, and know I took your love with me. I did not wish for you to cry nor feel sad. My pain is gone and I am free. Soon you'll come to me. Until then, God will be with you just as he's with me.
I'm so delighted to be with all of you today. Saradj and I met when I was a young musician starting out, starting to have a little bit of success, and I needed to get my affairs in order as an artist. And someone recommended Saradj. They said, Saradj is a man of the highest integrity. And in thinking about what to say about Saradj and the 30 years of our relationship, that was the word that just jumped into my mind. He was a man of integrity in every way. The other word that pops into my mind is rock. He was solid as a rock. And as a young artist starting out, we would be talking about my finances. And I would always be a little, what's happening? And Saradj would always say, you're serving, everything will be fine, right? And that assurance, that rock solid assurance and belief was something that would sustain me. Throughout the years, his and Fifi's love and hospitality have been so cherished. I know our whole family would always love when Saradj would come visit to do the taxes and so forth. It was a delight. I'm so happy to hear all these stories from all the friends, especially, I must tell the Italian friends, whenever Saradj would mention Italy, his face would just go somewhere. It would light up. And of course, it was his pioneering post that he loved so dearly. Love is expressed in so many ways by all of us. And for me, I love that you talked about his humor, and we talked, he was very direct and earnest with me. And I just love hearing about all the laughter. And he always had a smile. So this is for Saradj. Make my heart overflow with love, overflow with love, overflow with love. Make my heart overflow with love for thy creatures, and grant that I may become the sign, become the sign, become the sign. Grant that I may become the sign of thy mercy. And forgetful of self, forgetful of self, forgetful of self, and forgetful of self, but ever mindful of what is thine. Make my heart overflow with love, overflow with love, overflow with love. Make my heart overflow with love for thy creatures, and grant that I may become the sign, become the sign, become the sign. Grant that I may become sign of thy mercy. And forgetful of self, forgetful of self, forgetful of self, forgetful of self, but ever mindful of what is thine. Make my heart overflow with love for thy creature.
So as Andre mentioned at the beginning, he and I will, I see many of you have, or some people in the chat, we're going to go through it now. If you click on the bottom of your screen, if you wish to say something, for all of you who've been here for all of this, thank you so much. That's the formal prepared program. We wanted to give an opportunity to anyone who wants to speak to share their thoughts. The way for us to do this so we don't talk over each other will be by raising your hand. So at the bottom of your screen, you see where it says participants, about 188 people. If you click on there, there is a function to raise your hand. We'll keep track of it, and we will request you to unmute your line in order. We'll just ask you to keep your comments to a minute or two, if you could, just in the interest of time for others. So I will get to my duties to help out. You stay here, unmute. And for anybody who was reading and who sang and participated, I don't want to indulge you too long if you need to depart, but thank you so much on behalf of all of us.
Go ahead, Joel.
Thank you. So we heard many wonderful stories from Italy, but I haven't heard very many stories of New Jersey. Vicki and I have lived near the Avarigans for more than 35 years. We're in the next town, and we would participate with them during Baha'i 19-day feast, holy days, many, many occasions. We watched Andre and Ashley grow up, get married. They are a very dear family. But I just want to tell you two little tidbits. One is the holy days that they would have in their house that were the ones in the middle of the night, where you would go at 1 or 2 in the morning. The holy day would happen at 3 or 4 in the morning, and then Firuze would serve food and refreshments at breakfast time. We would bring my daughters, who are now in their late 30s, when they were little girls, in their pajamas so that they could sleep until the actual program began. It was the sweetest memories. The other is, I was probably one of the last people to actually communicate with Saradj. I'm a physician. During COVID, visiting in the hospital was very limited, so I had access, and I would go there several times a day to see him. And at the end, he was intubated. There was a breathing tube in his mouth to help him breathe, but I could still communicate with him. I would say something to him and he would blink or try to respond in some way. And then the next time I visited, he was in a coma and unable to do that. So I believe I was one of the last people to actually communicate with him. And I was able to share some of the moment-to-moment medical information with the surrounding friends and community, which made it very sweet for me to be the sharer of information. We miss him very much. He is so beloved.
So I just also wanted to say that all of the things that people shared are so true about his warmth and how he was always so encouraging and supportive. But I'd like to share a little bit about his wicked sense of humor. And so he was always laughing, you know, he would always seek joy in many things. But I went away on a trip, I don't even know what it was, but I was away for a while. And when I came back, we had a Baha'i gathering at my house. And Saradj comes up to me and he says, Vicki, you have no worry. Your cousin took wonderful care of Saradj while you were gone. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And I was like, what? I mean, took wonderful care of my husband while I was gone. And I'm like, wait, what cousin? And he was just being naughty, like implying there's some other woman had been come to the house taking care of my husband every day. So he was just like he had such a sense of humor. And I realized that we had become like family, that he would tease us in such a way. I loved him with all my heart. I love you with all my heart, Firuze, and Andre and Ashley and all your family. And you will be surrounded at all times with love coming from the Concourse on High, from Saraj, and from all of us.
Thelma.
Okay, this is you. You can talk.
My name is Amrullah Khelghati. I was from a small village outside of Tabriz. و ولی در یه جلسه I was I had finished my school, and thank God that I have become kind of popular, that in the Baha'i meetings I would say prayers, and people liked it. But when I finished the high school, elementary school, I didn't have to be honest, I did not have even money to buy a plane ticket to go to the Tabriz to meet the Baha'is and continue my high school education. And luckily, Mr. Avaregan had come to our village, and I had mentioned to him that I have finished school, but I cannot come to Tabriz. Maybe before 1 or 2 years, I did elementary school. So somehow the Baha'is of Tabriz and Ilkhishi helped me to buy a ticket to go to Tabriz, and there I met local special assembly of Tabriz, and Mr. Avaregan also was head of LSA of Tabriz, and he helped me.
Took you into his home.
He
took you into his home.
Yeah, this is first I studied for a few weeks in the Baha'i Tabriz, but Mr. Avaregan, he said that you need to come to Ilkhishi to answer the Tabriz, and then there I met. I used to stay in some Baha'i friend's house, and I would go to there to the many classes to improve my 7, 8, 9 school. But Mr. Avaregan and others helped me to go to school. But the first year, they didn't find a school nearby, so they sent me. I would take school. Yes. So anyway, so from finally, in the beginning, I was in different houses, but finally, I moved to Avaregan's house, Saradj and Paris. All became part of the family, and then first it was difficult. I would go to a school far away from their house, and this became difficult to continue. But anyway, the teacher of school said that you have been coming late to the school, and what's the problem? So anyway, I explained to them that I am coming from a very other part of Tabriz, and that's why I am late. Anyway,
Just say, because they want to know about Saradj and
yeah.
So just say he was like,
Anyway, so
say Saradj was like your brother, you looked together.
so I became in their house, so became friends with the Saradj and other family members, and the next year I was able to find a school that it was not far from.
Amrullah John, thank you so much for sharing. My father spoke of you always with such love.
Okay, thank you.
You hear me?
Yes, we hear you now.
Okay. I said, first I want to mention how much my dear friend Saradj loved his children and his wife, Firuzeh. This was so obvious throughout the life that I have shared with him and I have seen him. Saradj and I go back to very old days, perhaps older than all of you, maybe with the exception of his sister and his brother, Hushi. He and his brother and Roshan and myself, we went to high school in the city of Abadan. This was in 1950s. This was the time that Colonel Avaregan, Hossein Avaregan, their father, was employer of the National Oil Company and was a professor of physics at university. And it's amazing, my memory of those days, especially my relation with Avaregan family, with Saradj and Roshan, and their parents are so vivid in my mind. Professor Avaregan was a scholar in terms of relation between Baha'i faith and Marxism. And those days, most Baha'i teachers and scholars, they were always talking about the Hadith and Quran and the coming of Qa'im. And it was quite unusual and quite profound to have a man with his outstanding knowledge and training, which he received in Paris, to talk about the future of the world, which is going to be either Marxism or Baha'i faith. And very eloquently, he used to prove that Baha'i faith is really the way of future. And as we get older, we found out that he was right. Another thing I remember by this great family, they had 2-room apartment, and they had 4 children, but 2 parents. So they have set up 1 room with the beautiful chairs and carpet just for the daily fireside in their house. And all the rest of them were sleeping and eating and living in the other room. And of course, on the top of all this, since I almost became a member of family too, I spent lots of time with them in that room. Saradj remembered this occasion very much, and he always laughed when we talk about it. One of those nights in the fireside, there were lots of people were coming to listen to Professor Avaregan and meet Saradj and Roshan and the family. I noticed that the Professor Avaregan is looking at Saradj with a sort of surprise and mad face. He keeps staring at them as though he's unhappy with his look or his behavior. So I even told Saradj, what have you done that your father is so upset with you? And he said, I don't know, I have no idea. So when the fireside was over, Professor Avaregan approached Saradj and I, and this is very funny, absent-minded professor. And he turned to Saradj and he said, you look very familiar. is this your first fireside? You know, it's amazing that he was so much in a spirit that we forget even the way his son looked like. Oh, I have so much memory of those days in Abadan, that how much my father and he loved to go and teach the Arab community, because city of Abadan was right at the border of Iraq. I remember they used to go get on the boat and go to the Basra, not far from Abadan, and do lots of teaching. Another thought occurred to me when Mario was talking about Saradj. I wonder how many of you know that Mario's son, Piero, who now is pioneering in China, has married to my son-in-law's sister. What a small world. You know, we see this relation. Saradj teach this family. They teach a man by name Piero, who died in an accident. They named the kid Piero, and later on, this Piero, the son of Mario, come along and married my son-in-law's sister, Tanaz, who are wonderful service they're rendering in Beijing, China. Saradj was a photographer in our wedding, and I'm very thankful to him because I remember he had a very small camera, and he took such a beautiful picture of that occasion, which I still have and I share with the friends. I have a great deal of memory of Saradj, but I'm afraid that this time is too short. But I just want to mention again how much Saradj loved Andre and Ashley. And really from the days that we used to spend in Greenacre together, or the time that I used to go to their house very often, and I have lots and lots of video from those days that one of these days I'm going to share with them. And I could see when I watched some of those videos a few days ago, and the way he was hugging Ashley and Andre and kissing them and hugging them, I could see the extent of love that they had for these kids. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to say a few words.
Thank you, Hossein Jun. I love you very much.
Allah Hapa friends. My name is Mehnaz Tirandaz Yousefian. I'm the daughter of Mrs. Mahin Tirandaz and the granddaughter of Mrs. Sarvar Yegane. My mother and my grandmother, along with myself as a toddler and my 7-year-old brother, they were with that first group of wonderful, dedicated souls that hearkened to the call of the guardian. And without even knowing where Bari really was, they went pioneering during the 10-year crusade to Bari. All in life, ever since I was a child until 9 weeks ago when my mother passed away, and Saradj was at her a month after that. His sudden passing completely shocked all of us. Saradj had this quality of never forgetting anyone, and he had this incredible loyalty and fidelity to people from 50 or 60 years ago. He had gone to the 50th anniversary of the forming of the LSA of Bari, and he had taken pictures, and he never ever forgot my mother to the very end when she was alone and she was not doing well. Every week, he would either call for every holiday and wish her well. He would also send numerous emails, whether they were funny jokes or songs or passages from the Baha'i writings. But Saradj was always present, that she was loved and she wasn't forgotten. I want to say hello to Reno and to Sonia. I've heard so much about your mother, Cinzia, the beautiful Cinzia. I think it's your mother. And of course, Pietro and Pietro's family. And Johnny Manono, Saradj used to tell me, you know, Johnny Manono was the fifth Baha'i of Bari, just so you know, he knows. So he just kept in touch with everyone and loved everyone and never forgot anyone. With the passing of Saradj, that first LSA of Bari is all in the Abha kingdom right now. I think it's very important to note that when Bari formed prior to this, Switzerland and Italy had been one NSA. But once Bari was formed, there were enough LSAs in Italy that Italy could now stand on its own 2 feet, so to speak, and in 1963 was able to vote and be part of the Baha'i electoral process in the election of the first House of Justice at the World Congress. The Avaregan family were really the glue. Allah bless them in the Abha kingdom. I'm sure that there's a place in the Abha kingdom where that LSA is all together and they're consorting with the messengers, the chosen ones, and the saints in heavenly places where the pen cannot tell, nor the tongue recount. God bless them all, and God bless all of you, Saradj's wonderful family.
Our condolences.
Our condolences.
Thank you.
My name is Amin Kamsi from Geneva. I'm with my wife Minou, and we had the pleasure of welcoming Saradj, and in some very special occasions, Firuze to Geneva. This was really something very special when Firuze used to come. I was associated with Saradj, I think, since the 80s, when he started coming to Geneva, and when Wilma Kazimzadeh was still in charge of the BIC. I remember the joy he brought to our house. He used to call 10 days before, 2 weeks before, and we really had to bargain with him, Tarof, asking him to come to our place. And finally, after 2 or 3 calls, he used to accept and used to come to our place, and we used to count the days. But being very professional, he used to arrive at 7 o'clock in the airport. In the beginning, we told him, come at 7 o'clock and have a rest. No, he went to the office. The first thing he used to go was to go at 8 o'clock to the Baha'i BIC office and come in the evening. We were really impressed by his kindness, his firmness in the faith. He was really a rock. Someone said a rock. Very strong believer, and his enthusiasm. When we had a very special love for Firuze, of course, his children, his grandchildren. He was proud of all his family, and we really have. And I was really preparing now for next. I said, when this COVID is over, he'll be probably coming next spring to do some financial work at the BIC. Something very, something interesting, something amusing. You know, he had a special love for Italy, as we heard. Italian food. We used to have all the espressos I had with him, and the Italian elegance. You know, I'm very keen on wearing correctly and being well dressed. But when he used to come, I had to compete with him because he was really the Italian elegance. And I used to try to copy him. He was my big brother. And really, we regret him. And we're very happy if we can welcome Firuze in his place next spring. Our house is open for the whole Avaregan family.
Yes, I should add that he is and he was an example
of doing service in joy. Really, I told this few times when we heard of his passing, that he is an example. Firuze Jun, condolences to you and all the family. And Wahid, our son, is here.
Тебе не видно, всі трошки вище. Говори.
Go ahead, Galina.
Sorry, Firuze. Sorry, Andre. Sorry, Ashley. Very sorry. But now I'm sure Saradj in the right place and good hand. He never come to us. But we all stay on the line to see him. We love him. We're gonna miss him very much. We never forget him. Just rest in peace.
Manduk would like to say a prayer.
الله اپا، فیروز خانم، به شما تسلیت میگم. ما همه دوست عزیزی رو از دست دادیم. روحشون شاد و انشالله که به شما و بچه هاتون صبر بده. من مناجاتی براشون میخونم. تعالی پروردگارا آمرزگارا، نفس نفیسی به شهود صعود نبود و از خاکدان فانی به جهان جاودانی شتافت. میهمان جدید است عزیز فرما، بنده قدیم است خلعت بدی عطا کن. ای بی نیاز بیامرز و بنواز و به خلوتگاه راز راه ده و در محفل تجلی همدم و همساز نما. تویی دهنده و بخشنده و مهربان و تویی آمرزنده و نوازنده و توانا. ای
I'd like to offer my condolences to Rouge and Andre and Ashley. I worked at the Baha'i International Community United Nations office in New York for 16 years, and quite a few of those years I worked with Saradj and have such warm memories of working with Saradj and having the wonderful opportunity of getting to know Andre and Ashley and Firuze a really, really special way. And I'd like to offer a prayer. And also I'd like to say to Firuze, I just wish I could hug you. Just wish I could hug you right now. God is sufficient unto me. He is the all sufficing in Let the trusting trust in him. Let the trusting trust in him. Let the trusting trust.
I love how. Andre, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you.
Okay, and no static, we're good?
We're good.
Okay. I've done this once before, but I must do it again I don't call her Fifi, I don't call her Fairuzi, I call her Auntie Fairuzi. We have a respect in our culture, no matter how old the person is. And of course, Saradj being my uncle, Fairuzi is my aunt. And Andre and Ashley are so dear to me. We are family through my father's relation to Saradj. There was a mention about not hearing many stories about New Jersey. We had left Egypt in 1970, and we arrived in New Jersey in 1971. And Saradj and Fifi were part of the LSA of Jersey City at that time. And they embraced our family in such a way. That was so incredible. So I knew dear Uncle Saradj for 49 years. And that smile and love that everybody talked about was always there. The story about the encyclopedias is no lie. The tax person that he was, you know, such a great guy to everyone. Andre was only about 1.5 years old, and Ashley was just a baby. Saradj received the letter that he shared with me as being the first graduate of St. Peter's College, which became a university. That letter was such an acknowledgement. The first Iranian born to graduate from that university. To the point that he was such an encouragement for my son to attend that university, and he graduated from there a couple of years ago. But Saradj's presence was always such a great light, as his name is. At every convention in Teaneck, we would always see each other, and he would always come and talk to me. At the souvenir picnic during the summer, same thing. There's so many great stories, and I don't want to take too much time. I'm trying to go as fast as I can. But Saradj, during the pandemic, in the month of April, joined a prayer session in the morning at 7 and was so diligent about attending. And that's in addition to many other things that we had a chance to spend some time together in recent years. He was on that call just shy of a week before he passed. So it was a shock news to us. He loved the prayers, he loved the Tablet of Ahmad, he loved the songs in the morning. So if it's okay, I would like to share a song that we used to sing in the morning that he really loved. It's very short. This is for Saradj. Armed with the power of thy name, nothing can ever hurt me. And with thy love in my heart, all the world's afflictions can in no wise alarm me. Can in no wise alarm me. Armed with the power of thy name, nothing can ever hurt me. And with thy love in my heart, all the world's afflictions can in no wise alarm me. Can in no wise alarm me. Can in no wise alarm me. Love you, Saradj.
Can you hear me, Andre?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, everyone. I'm home of arrhythmia. I met Firuza June and Sarah June in the late 80s when I moved to New Jersey from Austin, Texas. I used to live with a Greek American family, and even though I had my uncle lived in New Jersey, the family I lived with them, they knew my mom was Baha'i, so they wanted me to meet the Baha'i family in New Jersey. So interestingly enough, they found Firuza June and Sarah June, and I met them, and from the first day, they invited me to their family with an open arms, and instantly became my family. And I was fortunate enough that for 30 some odd years, we became so close. I could share some of my biggest achievement in life. They were by my side and at my wedding, birth of my first child, graduating dental school, all the family functions, Nowruz celebration, every party, and I'm so sorry. Losing Sarah June, it's came to me personally as a big shock. Loved him dearly, and I know he's in a better place, and I'm so speechless about how this world works. Firuza June, you know how much I love you. Andre and Ashley and your beautiful family. It's just, I don't know. I'm devastated as much as you guys are, and I'm hoping for better days. And I'm sure he will rest in peace, and he will be your guardian angel and takes care of all of you and watch over you, and with his infectious laugh and his great sense of humor. And I just want to thank you for having me as part of your life. I love you guys. Thank you.
Go ahead, Shahab. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. With a deep condolence to you and your family and everybody of the Avaregan family. I'm so blessed that met this family like 40 few years ago in Italia, and then I cannot forget what a good time I had with your dad, with your uncle, and with everybody else of your Avaregan family. I hope he will be there and watching all this thing happening. One of the best times of the day, today, I saw this ceremony. They call it what they call this thing? Something. Zoom. And God bless him. And I wish you, I'm not saying better days because every day is a good day, good time. I love you. Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Brian.
Hey, can you hear me okay? You got good audio?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yes,
Mom's here wishes you condolences, Firuze. And all of y'all, I just wanted to say, you know, Sina, Mina, Minu, Andre, Ashley, especially you, Fifi, Firuze. Am I gone now? No, I'm back. Anyway, just want to say I love you. I am very honored, blessed. I can't imagine my life without my growing up in New York, and your dad was certainly, I couldn't even remotely be who I am, nor my brother Michael, without the intertwining of your dad and your mom and you guys in our lives. Sorry it's been a couple of decades, but mayhaps we'll get together soon. I don't want to take more time. I love you. Peace. Come to Tucson. Alaopa.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pega. Saradj was my father's first cousin. And I know they had a very special relationship, and we always felt his warmth when we would see each other every year. So my condolences, Fifi June, and to you also, Ashley and Andre, and the rest of the family. And I just wanted to share something short. Something my mother Gita said to me about Saradj June was that nobody was ever invisible to him, and he made everyone feel seen. And he just had so much love, and my brother and I, Pano, would just be bursting inside with laughter every time we would hear him share his stories. And it was, thank you for everyone sharing the stories of dearest Saradj with us, and we love you all so much, and our hearts are with you.
Allah ha. I'm Dr. Inayatullah Wusu. Since 1959 that I came to United States, I had the chance to know Saradj Avaregan and his wife Firuze Avaregan, and really they helped me anytime that I needed, and I love them, and so now I miss them. I'm gonna to pray for them. Allah بخشنده یزدان این بندگان آوارگان بودند و این جانهای تابان به نور هدایت روشن و درخشنده گشتند. جامی سرشار از باده محبتت نوشیدند و اسرار بی پایان از اوتار معرفتت شنیدند. دل به تو بستند و از دام بیگانگی جستند و به تو پیوستند. این نفوس را نفیس لاهوتیان فرما و در حلقه خاصان درآر و در خلوتگاه عالم بالا محرم اسرار کن و مستغرق بحر انوار فرما. توی بخشنده و درخشنده به تابان.
Fifi John, Andrea, Ashley, everybody in the Avaregan family, we are so very sorry, Ed and I, and we wish we could be there. I don't even know what to say to you, Fifi John. It's very hard for me to talk, and I miss him so much. I hear his laughter, and he's singing in the morning, his little whistling. I used to hear every time I stay at your house, I used to hear him whistling and preparing his coffee and preparing his breakfast. And I miss that so much. All these years, I've missed it. And I know he's watching over all of us. I know he will take care of all of us. He had a full life and no regrets. And he was the best uncle ever. And I miss him. And I know he'll watch over us. I wish I could be there, we could be there to give you hugs and support you and just hold you like I used to do. I miss that. It's just a really, really messed up situation that we can't see each other. We can't be close to each other, and each one of us in one corner of this big world. And Mina June, Sina June, my condolences to you, to Minu June, to all the family. I'm sorry I can't name everybody. I love you all. Thanks.
Does anybody else want to say anything? Just raise your hand or message us. If not, let us know. We're going to conclude this in a few minutes.
Thank you, everyone.
Actually, Brian wants to say something.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Let me put my video on. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to be brief before, but I just wanted to say, Firuze, I see you there next to your beautiful son. I wanted to acknowledge that in my experience as a Baha'i growing up, wondering about all the earthly joys to be combined with the heavenly joys, that you guys as a couple, to me, embody the potential of what the faith can be. Both beauty, both of you are physically beautiful people. Those pictures of Saradj, what a gorgeous guy, holy moly. And then your beautiful children, and then the extended family, everything. And it's really always been and always will be an inspiration to me of what the goal is to attain. The beauty of Saradj's voice is sort of eternal. So I feel horrible for you, but you've heard his song, and now the nightingales of paradise can take a lesson from Saradj as he warbles his melody. And there can be no better time for a soul to ascend that is so devoted to Baha and Baha'u'llah and this age, because he's given you guys have each other, you have him, but the world of the spirit also needs to hear that whistling and that music. But I know that you are the most two wings of a bird. I've mentioned that because I forgot before. That was okay.
Thank you, everyone. Andre, if that's everyone, then we'll conclude this. It was very sweet and meaningful for everyone who was able to join us. And on behalf of the family and my mom, if you can't hear her, she's saying thank you for everything.
Everyone.
Our love. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Talk. It's all the people. And Nadi.
That's right.
Those are all the people. Oh. Shara Mumandana.
Yeah. Fifi John, bye.
Bye-bye.
I love you. I'll call you.
I'll hear from you. Bye-bye.
I haven't ended the meeting because I want to see all your faces in gallery view.
Yes.
Sorry.
I wish I could hug you all. This is Bahi.
Bahi.
God bless you. Yeah. I love you guys so much. I can't talk. It's good seeing you, Rosanna. That poem was beautiful. Everything was beautiful. Thank you so much. And Kai and the rest of the family. Our deep condolences.
Those are our future leaders. Yeah.
Goodbye, Fifi. Come. She can't see you.
She can't see me.
Oh,
You
now
can't
she can.
see me.
Here is it, John. The love from Shohre Ashraf. Shohre.
Okay. Sure.
We knew each other before you were married, and I was so happy because I love Saradj Avaregan, were my family when I was alone in Rome. And your marriage with Saradj was one of the joy of my life. You spent some time in Rimini where we were living. And then when I heard that you were married, that was really a high point. Love you both. And love everyone.
My love to Mom.
Fifi John, remember the, now we're gonna remember all the good memories and the laughter, and the pain is gonna go away slowly, right? Fifi John?
Yes.
We're gonna remember all the jokes, all the fun things.
Yeah.
And because that's what he wants, that's what he left us with, and he wants us to remember that. And the pain will go away.
You remember? Thank you. His last word was thank you.
Thank you. And the thank you was taking care of you. That's what he was thanking me for. Thank you. And I have tons of fun stories, and we'll share together every week. so that the pain goes away, Firuza Jan. The pain will go away.
Sorry, he's not here for you to tease.
I think now he's with me all the time. This is what he's doing to me now. Instead of, it's just at the feast, he's there with me all the time, and he's going to joke with me all the time. Hormonatu Beram, you guys did a great job. I know you're tired, so you should go rest.
Yeah. So much.
Thank you. I love everyone. Love seeing people I haven't seen in years.
Yes.
Going
I just wanted to convey our most sincere condolences from all of the Khorasani family as well. Saradj Jan was so dear to all of us. So thank you for allowing us to participate in such a beautiful and sweet collection of memories of such a wonderful man. So you're in our hearts and our prayers, and we send you love from England. Take care.
My name is Naz and Iraj, and we wanted to present our condolence. I'm the sister of Nayer Bushrui and Sohail Bushrui, and Mr. Saradj is my second cousin. My uncle was Fuadi. So Mr. Saradj is my second cousin, and I had the pleasure only to meet him once in the home of my brother Nayer, because we are in Africa and far away from all families. So it is an opportunity. We are in France, and near our daughter now is to really wish you patience and sympathy. And I'm sure he's in a better place and he's near his Lord. So and his life is a life of achievement, a life where he has served. And this is really the essence of life. So congratulations on your family who has been so supportive to Mr. Saradj, and all the children are around. They will be servants of the faith, and we are proud and happy for you. I will not cry, because we have to rejoice at the achievements of others. And the achievement is the obedience to our really covenant and the way we should serve the cause. Thank you very much. Sorry to be too much pushy, but I couldn't stop. Since I don't have your address, I said this is the best time with my husband, Iraj Yegane, and my name is Naz Yegane Bushrui. So wishing you really strength. Thank you so much.
Talking about those.
Firuza, may I speak?
Goodbye.
Hello, Yeg. Okay.
May I speak?
Yes, Johnny. Johnny. Yes.
Johnny.
I am Gianni from Bari.
Si.
I don't know if before, because I came from my shop, I was very angry with myself because I could not take the connection. And when I arrived at home, my son put me the telephone, and I don't know what I said. But it's important. The people, they understood why it was very important Saradj in Bari, because Saradj was the only one with all the pioneer that came through the young people, and through the Piero. He was a pure, really pure. He accepted the faith, and then Paolo, and then Vincenzo, and then the other four friends. But this was all the work of Saradj. He had the idea clearly when he came to Bari. He was young, but he understood what was his mission. And in Bari, we have a community thanks to the pioneer, Saradj, and Piero. For me, Saradj was the paladin. You know what means paladin? He was the boss of all the Persian. Piero was the martyr. He gave his life. I don't think it was an accident. He gave his life and said to our community, what to the Persian, what Saradj did, I confirm with my life. This is something very curious that it's difficult to understand, but this happened, you know. With Saradj, we had about 10 declarations, and with the Piero death, or the Piero sacrifice for me is, all his family was the only family that accept all. This was a typical Bari family that accepted the faith. We, Mario and me, Mario and other Baha'i, yeah, our family, they didn't accept the faith. But the Piero family, instead to be angry with the Baha'i, what they did? They accept all family the faith, and they built the house for a Baha'i center. I think this is very important. I don't know what he did in America. I know he was in the Baha'i international community. I know. I met him in the United Nations. Every time he came to Europe, after he visited his parents in Latina, he came sometime to Bari, and he came for the 50 year that we celebrate. It was always in contact with us. I had the opportunity to speak with him 10 days before he died. He called Mario that he didn't feel good, and he wanted to know how he is, but he didn't find at home, and he called me in the shop. And for me, it wasn't surprise, you know. He called all the time, but this time, and we talk. He was always this nice, wonderful man what I met 60 years ago. Okay, now I stop. Chodafes to everybody.
Grazie mille.
Okay, wait a second. So since clearly no one ended up stopping, can I say something really quick?
Of course, Michael.
Okay, I appreciate it. Hi, Fifi. It's been amazing to hear so many parts of Saradj. Italy Saradj, Iran Saradj, New York Saradj. So I just want to carve it down as being one of the youngest people to experience Saradj when I was growing up. And I hope a couple of people are still here, like Hossein and such. Saradj for me, when everyone was talking about integrity and rock, I happen to be the son of someone who tested the boundaries of what was appropriate and whether or not he might make it into the Alpha Kingdom or not. And there are some people on this Zoom get together, I think of Hossein, who also pushed the boundaries. And I always thought of Saradj as their saving grace, as that one of that group who would pray for their soul, as hopefully he was walking in the Alpha Kingdom and they were struggling in the Alpha Kingdom. And I say that with love because he was very clear on the road that he walked. He was there was no indecision as to how he approached everything. My father never listened to him. Okay, it's, it is what it is. But you knew that he was consistent because it seemed that he internalized the writings of the Blessed Beauty and walked that path. And it's been 26 years that my dad passed. Having Saradj in my life was a connection to that. And so, there are people who say that, oh, you're in our prayers, you're in our prayers. Saradj was someone who I know in my heart, when he said that, he meant that. So I would say that for all those who have passed on before Saradj passed on, we need to step up our prayers for those, because his prayers have now gone to the next world, and there will be the need for those he prayed for and for him. And he will always represent to me that person who never doubted, at least externally, who never doubted where he was walking. And Firuze, you two together, I can never, it was always you know, Saradj and Fifi and Saradj. It was a unit. What's interesting is I didn't always see you two together, but you were always a unit, no matter where you were. And that's something extremely strong and something that I appreciate, having been able to see that growing up. So you guys are amazing. You have amazing children, amazing daughter-in-laws, grandchildren. This community that has come together to share the stories, I can't get away from Saradj. I have people from Italy here who are telling me, oh yeah, I know them. Thank you so much for this brief time that we had and it being so joyous. And it's lots of tears and sadness, but not really. It is amazing that this bird has been released from his cage, and it's just fantastic. So thank you guys. It's been amazing. And I'm sorry, no one wants to get off this Zoom call, and I don't blame them. So.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you,
Sylvia.
Sylvia.
Aloha. Aloha. Do you hear me? Aloha.
Yes, we hear you, Manija Khanum.
منیژه موزون هستم. همسایه ایران با سراج جون عزیزم. خوشحالم که خواهرم به من خبر داد که به من این زبون داد که من بتونم با شما تماس بگیرم. خیلی خوشحالم، ولی واقعا متاسفم که این اتفاق براشون افتاده و واقعا ما خیلی ناراحت هستیم براشون. خیلی خیلی خیلی. سالقا ما دیدیمشون تو شیکاگو. کمالا شیکاگو دیدمش. خیلی متاسفم. میشه برشون مراجعت بخونم؟ میتونم این مراجعت برشون بخونم؟ خواهش میکنم.
بفرمایید.
یا مولا کمک کن. تحمل کنیم جمع. مولا ای پروردگار، این جمع را شمع روشن فرما و نفوس را تایید کن. رویها را نورانی نما و خونها را گلزار و گلشن فرما. جانها را به نفسات قدس زنده کن و نفوس را به هدایت کبرا نفیس فرما. بخشش آسمانی مبذول کن و موهبت رحمانی شایان فرما و در کهف حفظ به حمایت خویش محفوظ و مسئول دار. الطاف بی پایان شامل کن و عنایات مخصوص کامل فرما. تویی دهنده و بخشنده و دانا عینه. حالا موجود شد.
متشکرم. مرسی. شما.
الله پاک. فیروزه جان، من نجمه روحانی هستم. مراتب همدردی و تسلیتم و خدمتون عرض میکنم. واقعا زبون قاصره از اون چی که بخوام اون منویات قلبی رو خدمتون عرض کنم، ولی در غمتون شریکم. برای اون عزیز بزرگوار علو درجات و برای شما عزیزان صبر و آرامش مسئلت میکنم. از طرف فامیل توفیق و روحانی عمیق‌ترین مراتب همدردی و تسلیتم رو خدمتتون عرض میکنم. روحشون شاد و درجاتشون متعالی باشه.
خیلی متشکرم.
قربان.
May I say something, Ashley?
حتما خانم افنان.
Yes, Mahin Afnan. And I know this family of Avaregan and Banan from Shiraz, Iran. And I saw the Saradj in Chicago conference a few years ago. There is a prayer by Abdul Baha, which is the name of Saraj as a great light is in the prayer, and I want to read it for him. Is it time that I read it for him?
حتما خانم.
Yes, please. هوالله ای خداوند بیمانند، شکر تو را که آن سراج را در زجاج ملأ اعلی برافروختی و آن طیر وفا را به آشیانه ملکوت ابها راه نمودی. آن نهر کریم را به بحر عظیم رساندی و آن شعاع ساطع را به شمس حقیقت راجع فرمودی. اسیر حرمان را به حدیقه وصال درآوردی و مشتاق دیدار را به محفل تجلی و لقا فائز فرمودی. تویی یزدان مهربان و تویی منتهی مقصد مشتاقان و تویی آرزوی جان شهیدان. عبدالبها عباس. And please accept condolences from all members of Afnan family to Banan and Avaregan family. Thank you.
مرسی خانم افنان. خیلی متشکرم.
I am from Bari. My family loves the marshal and loves Avaregan family. I love them.
Grazie, Mario. Grazie.
Joe and Nali, go ahead.
Hey, Andre June,
Nali June.
you remember?
I never forgot.
You remember you came to Montreux?
I never forgot. I never forgot that time with you two.
Okay, now you can come again with your brother, with Fifi June, everybody, family, okay?
It's so good to see you, Joe.
Remember Montpellerin, Fifi?
No, she can't remember, I think.
Sure she can.
You remember?
Remember what?
The Mont Pelerin, where we live?
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
The photo. You can see the painting in
They
the
moved, yeah. They moved under from there.
But you came here, no?
On the top of the hill now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Andre came to the to Montreux.
Montreux,
The jazz.
that area, jazz festival area.
And now we are above Vevey.
Okay.
You remember
Yeah.
Vevey?
Joe, you still have that guitar?
Yeah, sure. That's all I know how to do.
We still have that same one I was talking. That thing.
You got to come, and if you behave yourself, I'll let you play my Gibson.
Okay.
I just wanted to say something to share with the participants. One often hears, "May he rest in peace," but I don't think that applies to Saraj. I think that would be the worst thing for him to happen to him. I never saw him rest, and I never saw him in peace. He was always running towards some new challenge, and he reminded me of a bumblebee who was jumping from flower to flower, trying to get it all in as fast as he could in a day, and it was never long enough. So please, I never want to hear Saraj rest in peace. I'm sure he's busier than he ever was before. Love you so much.
Love you.
Hope to see you soon.
Yes, love you both.
Thank you, everyone, again. Lots of love and thanks and gratitude from our whole family. On behalf of Andre, and myself and my mom, and all of the other members of the extended family. Andre, you want to finish?
I think they have to finish because they are tired. You must be
Yes, you are tired. We all should leave.
This is just.
Bye, everybody.
Much love.
Bye bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
That was marvelous. It was very good.
It's like nobody wants to live.
Yeah, we're gonna leave. In Switzerland, it's too late. What time is it here? We have it at 11 o'clock.
Kathy.
Hi, Andre.
Thanks, everyone. It's just wonderful to see everyone. Everyone. Just, I love everyone. I love you all. Oh. Go
We
ahead.
love you, Andre.
Love you guys. Hi,
Madonna,
Ruth.
go ahead. Let me unmute you, Madonna. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, Kai. Hi. Hi.
Madonna. Madonna, go ahead.
Me,
Yes, you.
Underjad, it has been quite a while since I last saw you in Tehran. I think it was back in 74, 75.
Yeah.
But I had the pleasure of meeting your parents here in Düsseldorf. They came to visit, and I kept receiving emails of your father basically every week. I will for sure miss that and give my very best to Fifi June. It was a pleasure seeing you and Ashley. And I hope your mom decides to come and visit us in Düsseldorf and her old friend in Wuppertal. Give her my very best.
I will.
And I have very, very sweet memories of your father and of course your mom as a very old friend of my mother. Okay? Bye-bye, Aziz.
How do you say goodbye to everyone?
I don't know. I have to say hi to Monette and Izzy though quickly. Hi. Hi. I love you. I miss you guys. I hope I see you soon.
Love you guys.
The program was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. Really. What a service for all of us. Really. Thank you, Andre June.
Welcome, Kathy. I miss everyone. I love everyone. I don't want anyone to go. Giancarlo, Hossein, Brad, Mina, Giovanni, Parisa, Joe, everyone. I love all of you, Mohabbat. It was good to see everyone.
Bye, you guys. Mina, Sina, love you. Love you all. Bye.
Love all you guys. Bye.
Yes.